Hey everybody, der FM Scribe here, and welcome back to the channel and our first journey here on Football Manager 24. I'm really excited about going back to something that once was on an old channel known as der FM, where I did a Wunderteam saga with FK Austria Wien. Well, Austria Wien is in a bit of a pickle currently, and as such, I've decided for FM24 to kind of go back to the roots and do a resurrection of Austria Wien with a lot of the parameters from that old FM, I believe it was FM17 or FM16, I can't quite remember, save that I really enjoyed and that a lot of the viewers of my old channel really enjoyed. So I hope you will join me on this journey with Austria Wien and building the Wunderteam on FM24. So yes, welcome to FM24. As you can see here, we are with FK Austria Wien, FK Fußballclub Austria Wien. I've got my Austria Wien scarf on that I bought way back when I did that original Wunderteam saga save. And if you're wondering why my FM looks a little different than yours, it's because I'm using the amazing FM Renzi skin link down in the description below. I'm also, I've got plenty of custom graphics that I grabbed from Sorted Out SI or any of the other plethora of FM sites out there that get you the graphics, the stadium backgrounds, the trophies, the kits, the badges, you name it. I will put the links down in the description for some of the items, not each individual kit, but most of it is from Sorted Out SI, so you can figure it out from there. So why Austria Wien and why Wunderteam? What does this all mean? Well, Austria Wien is a club in Austria, as the name would entail. They are the most successful Austrian team when it comes to total trophies won. Now, when it comes to league titles, Rapid Wien, unfortunately, has won a few more. But complete trophies, Austria Wien is number one. We can see here 24 league titles, 27 cups, and 6 Super Cups, and then 2 Mitropa Cups. Central European, Mitteleuropa is what Mitropa stood for. This was a pre-World War II competition of Central European nations or clubs, and many people think of it as the forerunner to the eventual European Cup that would come about in the 1950s and then turn into the Champions League in the beginning of the 90s. And the Mitteleuropa Cup, Mitropa Cup, was mainly clubs from the area that kind of used to be Austro-Hungary. So you have Austrians, Hungarians, Czechoslovakia, Romania, Northern Italy. So a lot of those clubs predominantly played in this competition, and sure enough, Austria Wien won a couple of those. And this came at the height of Austria Wien's success, specifically in the 1930s, around the great talent of striker Matthias Sindelar, who unfortunately passed away under mysterious circumstances in 1939. But in that period from 1931 to 1933, the Austrian national team, kind of born out of that Danube culture of tactical, fluid, attractive football, became the talk of the world, the talk of European football in particular, with great performances against Germany and a number of other nations, including a very close 3-4 loss to England at that time, an England side that would remain undefeated for another 20 years, until, of course, the mighty Magyars defeated them in 1950 or 51. I can't quite remember, but you could look that up. Part of this Wunderteam was a core of players from Austria Wien, Matthias Sindelar being the most notable of those, the most talented, the goal scorer of Austria Wien and the Wunderteam. Hugo Meissel was the manager at that time, and they created really part of this Danube school of football. If you want to know more about that, Inverting the Pyramid is definitely a book I would recommend you read. It gives you a lot of information on that kind of coffee house football culture from the 1920s and 30s that developed in places like Budapest and Vienna and Prague and so forth. So that's a highly recommended read there. And the Wunderteam was known for playing attractive, fluid, attacking style of football. And I want to recreate that. And I decided back on, I believe it was FM16, to recreate that with Austria Wien at the time. And what I did was actually use strikerless football to create that fluid, attacking, possession, highly attractive style. And yes, I am going to go strikerless again on this series here with Austria Wien on the Wunderteam on FM24. So as I mentioned, it's a bit of a resurrection job. Not all is well here with Austria Wien. And predominantly, it's about finances. So we're going to go to finances here real quick. As you can see, started the 27th of July. I played through the 2-week preseason that I had with Austria Wien. And we're going to go straight to finances. You can see here, it's noted as insecure and insecure indeed. Now, currently, the overall balance is 1.8 million euros in the negative. Yes, I'm using euros and annual for salaries and so on. Budgets are, we do have some budget. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to look at debts and loans. Currently, there's over 81 million euros in debt, monthly repayment. And this is going to go until the 2040s. So another 25 years, 325,000 euros a month. That is a huge suck on finances in a league that doesn't pay out a lot. So we need to get to the Champions League eventually. Part of this is also to develop talent now, Austria Wien, and sell those then for good profit. If we look here to facilities, Austria Wien has excellent youth facilities, excellent academy coaching, and excellent youth recruitment. So we're going to bring in talents, develop them, and then sell them ideally for a lot of money. Now, one of the problems we're going to have is for the longest time, the board is not really going to let us keep a lot of transfer revenue. I think right now it's around 20%. So we can sell someone for 100 million. Granted, we can then invest 20 million back in the club, but you can see where I'm going here. And there's also a very high chance that the board will sell our best players out from under us. So part of the goal here is to develop a squad that has a good balance of young talent and experienced players as well. If we look at the club vision for the board, key stuff here is sign players under the age of 23 for the first time. Do not sign players over the age of 30. So very clear, 29 is the max age we're going to sign players for, and we're going to target players under 23 to really help our squad moving forward. The supporters have a lot that they would like. They would like us to develop players using our club's youth system. That is required. And play entertaining football, which we will definitely try to do. Become most reputable team in Austria. We can definitely get there. Finish above Rapid in the league. Of course, we've got to do that. Be competitive against Salzburg. Yes, we have to do that. And reach the Bundesliga championship group. So the league splits between a championship group and a relegation group through the season. And we will learn that. When I played this basic save once before, way back when, going back, what are we going back to? 7-8 years ago, Austrian football still had a different system at that time. So this group split is new for me, and I'm really looking forward to it because I remember doing that in Belgium and in Scotland, and it just throws a whole bunch of interesting narratives into the game. Now, the other things, I am controlling way more than I usually control. This is kind of micromanaging save a little bit. So I am setting individual training for the senior team and all the youth teams, so the under 18s and the young violets, which is essentially the B team or the under 23s. I am obviously doing team training for the senior squad. I am also hiring pretty much all of the staff. So it's really not about the individual manager, who I will talk about here in a second. It's more about building a club in that sense. Now, if you want a manager simulation, that's more my style of journeyman saves. That's not what this is. Now, of course, how are we going to judge success on this save with the Wunderteam? Well, one, get in a better financial position, win the league again, which they haven't done in quite a while. Last time they won the Bundesliga, the Admiral Bundesliga in Austria, was in the 2012-2013 season. So more than 10 years ago. I mean, yes, it's July 2023, so it's 10 years ago, but more than 10 seasons ago. So it's time to head back to that. If we look at the ÖFB Cup, the last time they won the cup was in 2009. So it's been a while since they've won that. You can see here the European Mitropa Cup. They won in the 1930s, of course. The Super Cup last time in 2004. And then here are some of the older ones. The Alpenpokal, they were runners-up in 1941. And then the Vienna Cup, they were runners-up in 1918. So as I was saying, we need to get to a better financial position. We need to win the league. We need to win the cup. We need to qualify for the Champions League and start developing finances that make it more sustainable whilst playing attractive football all the time. There will be no deviation from attractive football, no pragmatism. No, we will live and die by the attractive strikerless sword, as it will be. Speaking of which, let's actually just take a look at the tactic real quick. So here you have my Wunderteam back three. I have three different strikerless tactics set up. This is one that in the short preseason proved itself quite useful, including our fantastic opening round of the ÖFB Cup, where we demolished a lower league side. And I'll show you the little results that we had. But this is basically a 3-4-3 strikerless system. So we've got a sweeper keeper on support in goal. Then ahead of him, we have a central defender, two central defenders, left and right. In the middle, we have, and this may trigger some of you, a libero. I'm pronouncing it very German, not libero. And this is very important because what he will do, he will go into this position and basically become a number 6. These two central defenders move centrally a little bit more, so we gain more numbers here in a central position. Then we've got two supporting wingbacks on the side. We've got a box-to-box midfielder and a central midfielder on defend. Ahead of them, we've got an advanced playmaker on support. These are really the only player instructions so far. Tackle harder, move into channels, and roam from position. This is really the heartbeat of the team right here. And then we've got close down more and tackle harder on both of our shadow strikers on either side. We're playing with a positive mentality in possession. We're going to play shorter. We're going to pass out of defense. We're going to work ball into the box and be more expressive. We are, of course, taking short kicks to our center backs, playing with counter press and counter. We are going max here with high press line of engagement. Higher defensive line, I could push it much higher, but we're going to keep it higher right now and more often on the trigger press. So this is a more assertive style, put it that way, which we will tweak over time. I have a couple other tactics here that didn't work that great in preseason, but it's okay. This one worked really, really well. Now, speaking of transfers, we don't really have that much to talk about here. We've got 130,000 transfer budget remaining and 20K per annum in wages. We do have a player that we sold in Andreas Gruber. You see him just barely down here behind me. We actually sold him for 2 million, could go up to 2.5 million to Stade Brest in France. So Andreas Gruber, the reason why we sold him is just because he didn't fit in our tactical system and they came in with an offer and I decided to throw the board a bone and sell someone that was really surplus to our requirements. Now let's take a quick look at the manager behind the Wunderteam, and that is 33-year-old Darko Junuzovic. So he is Austrian and Croatian. He is a pretty decent one. He's got a national reputation. He was a professional footballer at the national level. This was my best new gen on that old Austria Wien Wunderteam Saga series, so I decided to bring back the bearded gentleman in Darko Junuzovic. And yes, he has a Continental Pro license because this isn't about developing the manager. It's about developing the club. Now, what happens if we fail? Crash and burn. Well, there are two options. We can either just end the save and start something new, which is probably what I would do. Or then it becomes Darko's journey. I'll let you decide if we get there. But obviously the goal is not to fail. It's to be successful. Another part of this, and this is something here on the Renzi screen I love, is how they break down the staff so I can actually see the staff down here. Part of this journey will also be to build a narrative with our staff that come with us. Most of these came in, fired almost the entire staff, and hired a bunch of new staff members in here to make everything tick better, kind of along the lines that we wanted, become better coaching team. You can see here we've got the best defensive, attacking, and technical coaching. We're slowly getting there in other areas. Also in scouting, got rid of most people here, as well as the medical staff. One guy I'm really interested to see how he develops is Tim Borowski, who is one of our coaches, Werder Bremen legend and World Cup 2006 legend for Germany. So really curious to see how Tim Borowski does. He's actually a pretty good coach and not that expensive. The other major narrative, of course, in a series like this is the squad, how we develop them, who comes with us, and where we go with them. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire squad here because we've got a few players that are out injured long term. Ziad Al-Shaivi, he's out 9 to 10 months, and Florian Wustinger is out. How long is he out for? 8 to 9 months. So they're not going to play a part at all. So instead, we're going to go to the tactics screen. I'm going to kind of highlight a few players here. So I'm going to start with Christian Früchtel, who is our goalkeeper. He was a Bayern youth product, and a few FMs ago, he was definitely a wonder kid, so a Wunderkind for the Wunderteam. He is only 23 years old. He's still got a lot of development ahead of him, and he's a pretty good keeper. His punching tendency isn't great, but everything else is pretty much 11 and above. Communication's a 10. He's got pretty decent mentals, decent physicals, and he is our sweeper keeper extraordinaire. Ideally, we're able to keep him around for a long time. He does have higher wages, but his contract won't expire until 2025. So that's very important. We want to keep players as long as possible and as long as we can afford to. Next one I want to highlight here is Lucas Galvão. Now, he's older. He's 32 years old. He's our Brazilian libero, centrally here. And he's a pretty good player. I mean, some of his mentals kind of let him down, but I'm saying a benchmark for the Bundesliga in Austria right now is a 10. So 10 or higher, and you're a good Bundesliga player in Austria. Kind of think of it as second tier from one of the bigger leagues, maybe lower second tier. So if you look at 10s, they're pretty good if you're a lower championship side, possibly, or lower in the Zweite Bundesliga. So he's a good all-around player, and I think he'll do well for us. He also has a contract until 2025. Other ones here are basically just placeholders until more things develop over time. James Holland, very important player, also older. He's 34. His contract expires after this year, so we know for a fact that we will not extend his contract because he's too old. You know, it goes beyond the club directive of do not sign players over the age of 30. So this will be his one and only season with us, but he's very, very important. But the guy behind him that I am looking forward to is none other than Matthias Braunöder, a 21-year-old. He's got another year. He's got up to 5-star potential, potentially here. And he fills this slot in central midfield extremely well. The areas that kind of let him down is finishing, but I don't worry about that. Jumping reach and strength. These are areas that will develop over time. He's got great work rate, positioning, determination, concentration, bravery, pretty good physicals. And also here's some core technicals, dribbling of 12, first touch 11 is pretty good. Marking 12, passing 12, tackling 13, and technique 12. Downside, his cons, you can't see it because it's behind me. His cons are his training focus, and so he needs to be put in individual training to improve in final third. Kind of know that. We can see his finishing. And the other con is become more clinical in front of goal. But that's not really what we're asking of him. Other than that, he is really, really good. Fairly determined personality. I love seeing that in a young player. Next to him right now, we've got Manfred Fischer, 27 years old. He's got a contract till 2027. So he's going to be around here for a while with us. And he's a very solid all-around 4-star player. Ahead of them, a few interesting players. Aslani, I'm only going to mention him because he's on loan right now. He's on loan from Hoffenheim. So, yeah, okay, he's a loan signing, but he can help us this season. Next to him, we have Dominik Fitz, 24-year-old Austria Wien youth player, which is great to see. Very good technicals. I like his off the ball and technique, both at 15. His passing kind of lets him down, but it makes up for vision. A very good all-around player there. And then we've got Muharrem Huskovic, another Austria Wien youth player. He is 20 years old. We're retraining him to focus on being a shadow striker. Finishing first touch let him down, but he's got good dribbling, pretty good physicals. His pace is amazing. Off the ball is great, and determination is great. So again, he can move and leave people behind. But he's got a long list of big clubs that are interested in him. Chelsea, Man United, Norwich, the biggest clubs. PSG, Milan, Inter, Juve, and Augsburg. Juve actually put in an offer. It wasn't high enough. If they would have given me 10 million, I probably would have sold Huskovic at that point. Other players on the bench to keep an eye on. Matteo Meisel. He's 22. He's okay as a central defender, 4-star ability. He can still develop into something really good for us at just 22. Then Guenouche, he will be our starting left wingback, 23-year-old Frenchman who came from Austria Lutzenau, originally from Nancy. And he has a contract until 2026. So he's going to be around for a while. At 23 years old, he's got pretty good all-around ability scores, attribute scores that can get him there. He's currently on the bench because he's coming back still from an injury, and I don't want to rush him. The next big one I want to talk about here is Manuel Polster. He's got a contract until 2025. He's still coming back from injury. We're retraining him in the central position to become our playmaker eventually, because he got 16 passing, 15 off the ball, 16 composure, 12 teamwork. His vision needs to go up, but he's got great dribbling, good crossing as well. And he came through the Young Violets, but originally he was in St. Pölten, Wolfsburg, Stuttgart, second team. And at 20 years old, we look at this here, 4.5-star potential ability. He could be an absolute dynamite superstar for us if we can re-sign him. So this season's not going to be the litmus test for Austria Wien. It's really going to be heading into the next season where problems could arise. If we look at our schedule so far, we only had 2 real preseason games. FAC Wien. Here, this was 1-0 loss. Still a lot of experimentation there. Then a 2-0 victory against Stade Brest. And then in the opening round of the ÖFB Pokal, we destroyed Union Vöcklamacht 8-1. And this was an absolute demolition here. Fitz getting a goal. Plavotic getting to Aslani with a hat trick. Lataxa getting a goal. And James Holland a goal as well. This was pure domination. So that's a quick overview, but wait, there's more. What is this series going to look like overall? Well, my goal is to not just have 15, 20-minute episodes. It's going to go a little more long form. Maybe a few actual matches here during each episode, kind of like a truncated mini stream, as it were, because I don't stream. Trying it out. Tried it on a few other YouTube channels that I have content on. Long-form content does relatively well for me. So we're going to go with that here. I hope you're okay with 30, 40 plus minute Football Manager videos on occasion. And today we're going to start immediately with a qualifying round for the Europa Conference League Path second qualifying round, first leg against Pogoń Szczecin out of Poland. Now, may also go and play our first Bundesliga match against Linz, LASK, Lask, and then maybe do Pogoń as well. It may be 3. So, I mean, my goal here is to play a lot of matches on camera, as it were. We've got Salzburg and Rapid back-to-back here. So those are obviously ones we would look at. Admira. This was Admira Wacker Wien at one point. This is Flyer Alarm Admira. They're now in the second Bundesliga, in the second tier in Austria. We have them in the second round of the ÖFB Pokal. So let's get going with some matches. So starting off our first live comm match here on the Wunderteam, we've got Früchtel in goal, Blataxa, Galvao, and Plavotic, our back three, Potzmann on the left, Ranftel on the right as our wingback, central midfielder, box-to-box is Fischer, our CM defend is Holland, ahead of him is our playmaker in Fitz, with our two strikers in Huskovic and Aslani. Okay, our home form is important to us. Let's go out there and make the advantage count. We've got a few complacent players. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us in the butt. In the tunnel, how important will it be to score first here? I'm hopeful for a strong start and a positive approach. Sure. What are you doing to ensure the team picks up where it left off against Union Verklamacht? Last time out, it's all about momentum. The more we can put these sorts of performances together, the better. How are the squad feeling right now? What's the sense you get from the mood? We're a great bunch of players. They're confident and have great self-belief. All right, we start off with a European night right away here on the Wunderteam. Kind of thought about saying, remastered or reborn, but we're just going with the Wunderteam for the series. I hope you will enjoy it. And starting off in Europe, I think, sets the right tone. And off we go. We'll see how this does, how our strikerless formation does overall, and qualifying for the Europa Conference League, the next stages will be very, very important. Fitz looking for Potzmann, who's already booked. Not a lot going on in the first 10 minutes. Comes Valquist for Pogon. Gorgon on that right side. Is that Gorgon that used to actually play for Austria Wien? I may have to take a look at that later. Gamboa pushing forward. Kozinski, Leonardo. Zoom out a little bit here. Lonka. I don't like how Pogon is controlling the possession right now. Again, this whole experiment may go completely awry. We'll have to wait and see. Leonardo now. Pushing forward, plays it into space for Grozicki. Grozicki crosses it, and that was close there for Pogon. Well, halftime with nothing really happened aside from Potzmann taking a knock and an injury here, a potential knee injury. We didn't have a single shot. So that is not nearly enough shots. How about we took no shots at all? All right, let's bring on Gwinush for Potzmann. And what we're going to do here, we're going to push our line even further up. Be a little bit more aggressive there. Keeping it shorter, passing. Yeah, let's keep this as is right now and see what happens. I may have to tweak it a little bit here in the second half. Hakim Gwinush coming on. He's a very good wingback, so hopefully he can prove a key for us here. Corner Fitz now for Austria Wien. Corner in Plavotic, nothing doing there. Fischer out to James Holland. Ranftel now. Still Ranftel. Play it back to Holland, squares it to Fischer. Fitz, Fischer. Back to Holland, Ranftel. Patient build-up here from Austria Wien. Holland, Ranftel, in Fischer. Back out to Ranftel, working that side. In for Aslani, and there it is, 1-0 for the Wunderteam, for Austria Wien. Aslani with some nice movement there. We'll look at that here on the replay. But against Stipica. Crosses it in, Fischer. Ranftel. Beautiful pass, and Aslani just lost his man, moved into the space, and scores 1-0 Austria Wien. And we get a kickoff highlight right away. Gamboa to Zech. And I'm pronouncing things very German, I realize that, but if you know me from previous FM content or FM23, my very short series there, you'll know that's kind of what I do. Fitz now, he runs himself free, he's going to shoot and barely misses the Pogon goal. That was a nice counterattack there. All right, it's time for some substitutions. We got some tired players out there. I'm going to bring in Martins for Ramftl, who is having a great game, but he's pretty tired. Dominic Fitz is not doing much, so Polster is going to come on for Fitz in that central position. And I think what we can do here, I'm not going to change it. We're up 1-0. What we could do is just drop that tempo a little bit, control possession a little bit more. And continue on. Leonardo. And well cut out by Plavotic. Lukas Gavao. Holland. Plavotic. Patient build up here. Back to Früchtel. Nice. Just control possession at this point. We're up 1-0. We can be patient in our build up. James Holland. Plavotic. Just don't make stupid mistakes here. Baltaxa now. There's some room here. Plays it forward. Fischer. Huskovic. Out to Gwinush, who had some room, stayed on side. Gwinush, can he get a cross in? Plays it back for Fischer. Back to Galvao with a shot. Good save there from Stipica. Or Stipica. We'll go with Stipica. So you can see here, let me pause. Shoot, it was a little bit too fast, but if you paid attention to the position of the libero, see here he is, Galvao. He's a little bit forward. We'll see him a little bit in build-up. I do want to make a couple of subs here in a minute, but we'll wait for this highlight. Fischer wins it there. Polster plays it forward to Huskovic. Huskovic going through. And he square it back to Gwinush. Polster with a shot, and that goes wide. Okay, let's make another single substitution here. So Huskovic is getting a little tired. Hasn't really done much, so we're going to bring on Schmidt, who we're retraining. He's a nominal striker. You can see here we are retraining him into the shadow striker position. And we've got one more pause. We can bring another sub in a little bit later. Fischer, Schmidt. Still Schmidt, and he loses the ball to Valkvist. Stipica. Stipica coming out. Sech. Ulvestad. Rosicki, he's got a man out wide. Got to be wary of that. Oh, he pulls through. He shoots, and Früchtel with a save. This is a good moment there for Christian Früchtel, the Bayern München youth product. Leonardo with the corner in, and Früchtel grabs that one comfortably. The highline keeps on going. We build up out of the back normally. Looks like he's going to hoof it forward. He does. Looks for Aslani, nothing doing there. Galvao nicely cuts that out. Here, let me pause it here. You can see how we're building up in shape. So we've got our two shadow strikers out wide here with our advanced playmaker centrally. Our wingbacks out wide here. Here are two central defenders. Here are two central midfielders. And here's the libero, Lukas Galvao, kind of picking up that number 6 spot. So in build-up play, we oftentimes achieve the numbers here centrally, which is really, really important. Now you can see he's got options to play it out. He finds Gwinush. Gwinush pushing forward. Gwinush, can he cross it? Kind of running into a little bit of an alley there. He does find Schmidt. Crosses it. And a save there. No, it's just over the top. So we are going to pause one last time. Aslani is tired, so we're going to bring on the oldster, Philip Hosina, in for him here for the last 10 minutes. Throw in now, Valkvist. Zech, Valkvist. Still, here comes Pogon. Fischer, nice interception. He loses it right away, but he wins it right back. Well done, Fischer. Holland, Galvao, Baltaxa. Just be patient here. Plavotic. Now he's got room to play. Outline to Martins. Hosina. To Polster. Polster gets past his man. He's got good dribbling, and that's not really a shot he needs to be taking. Throw in Pogon. Back Czech. Ulvestad. Chip ball forward. Looks for Grozicki. Grozicki crosses it. And headed out. That's a corner kick for Pogon. Leo Borges looks for the far post, but nothing doing there. And Hosena picks it up. Can we now counterattack? Hosena is not the biggest speed dimming at 34 and diminishing abilities or attributes. But he still holds onto the ball, plays it back to Guenush. Galvao out to Martins. Martins back to James Holland's got numbers on the left side if you can find them. Hosena in some space. Cuts inside and blocked for a corner. That was a good opportunity there for Philipp Hosena. Corner now. Fischer. Kind of directing the players. There's 4 minutes of at a time. Plays it in, and Stipica easily gathers that one for Pogon. The highlight keeps going. Boots it forward. And Fischer picks it up. Out to Hosena. Hosena, can he square it through? Ah, that's too much. That's too much. But it's a corner kick for Austria Wien. Corner coming in now. Fischer again. Near post corners are quite potent in FM24, by the way. As far as I've seen so far. Fischer goes long post. Nothing there. Holland. Lukas Galvao. Fischer tries to get past his man. Back, and that's intercepted. Gorgon now. Will Pogon counterattack? They keep going here. Pogon pushing forward and back to Ulfstadt. Will this fizzle out? Nice. Fischer. Okay. Ended that one nicely. Throw in now. Bogish, Grozicki. Martins wins that one back. Hosena plays it nicely forward out of that press. Schmidt, if you can find him to the left. Guenush has some space. Match should be over here relatively soon. Still Guenush. Gamboa and Baltaxa plays it forward. Martins. Still Martins. Back to Lukas Galvao. Fischer. Got Guenush to the left, but Hosena plays himself through. But nothing doing there. And that is the end of the match. A 1-0 victory for Austria Wien. At the end, after those changes at halftime, second half, much, much better. 1.1 XG. It didn't really allow too much from Pogon there in the second half. They did get a clear-cut chance. We had 4 half chances, 56% possession. So pushing that lineup even more aggressively forward was really the key to winning this match. Very well done, lads. We didn't play well. Well done. I'm just going to tell them well done. It's the beginning of the season. No point in going too into minutia with that. So Ralf Rangnick, coach, manager for Austria, was at the Viola Park. And Potsman is out for 2 to 3 weeks. Not great. And here we go to kick off the Bundesliga season against Linzer ASK Lask. We've got a smaller bench than we do in Europe. Actually, relatively small bench. We have here 7 players all. I definitely recommend on FM24 to keep a keeper on the bench. I've had keepers get injured. Just once so far, but I was glad I kept somebody on the bench. Granted, I was playing in the Eredivisie where you have 12 players on the bench. But anyway, this is what we are going with. Right now, what I'm going to go with, we're going to make a couple of changes here. We're going to bring on Martins for Ramftl. Of course, Guenush has to play for the injured Potsman. And then we're going to bring on Polster for Fitz to begin with. And Schmidt. No, we're going to leave Schmidt on the bench right now. As far as the other defenders go, we're going to put in Handel for Plavotic. This is the team we're going with. Früchtel and goal, Baltaxa, Galvao, Handel in the back 3. On the wings, we've got Guenush and Martins from Luxembourg. Fischer and Holland are our central midfield pairing. And then in the number 10 spot, we've got Polster, and the 2 shadow strikers are Aslani and Huskovic. As you can see, the much higher defensive line is now in effect. All right, guys. Go out there and impress me. And now it is time to start the Austrian Bundesliga season. We're playing against Lask, who are playing a 4-4-2 diamond, so they're going with a narrow formation as well. And a 4-4-2 diamond against our formation, the central midfield control is really going to be the core component to determine who comes away victorious in this Bundesliga opener for us here with the Wunderteam. You can see Dako saying hi to the opposition manager. And off we go. Aslani, Fischer, Gwenush, Huskovic. Very curious to see how everyone performs this season. Again, I haven't played with a strikerless formation in a very long time, so I too am getting used to how it moves and what we have to do to make it click. Dabo crosses in, Zul, and Früchtel holds on to that one. First shot there from Lask. And my wife is looking over my shoulders here. So anyway, Huskovic comes inside, squares it, Aslani, block. Zul. Oh, good. She left. It was making me very, very nervous as she was peeking over here. So that was the only highlight we really had here. If we go to the stats, we've had 2 shots. They had 1. 2 block shots. Clear-cut chance there. 61% possession. It could be going better. XG right now. Aslani with the really good opportunity. Galvao on the booking so far. Been the better team, but we need to focus a little bit. Galvao. Need to make sure you don't get a booking here. So what I'm going to do here, tactically, let's spread this out a little bit more. Seeing they're not really going much wider, but if we go wider here, I still want to keep short passing. Let's drop that tempo a little bit. Let's just control the possession. And do I want to pass into space? Not at this time. We're going to keep going with these guys here. Just keep an eye on it. We don't want Galvao to go down. I mean, granted, then we just shift into a back 4 and drop our wing backs back into the fullback slot. But don't really want to do that. You can see how high we're staying there. Well, 63 minutes gone, and nothing is happening here. So we are actually, let's bump that tempo up a little bit. Our passing directness to slightly shorter, and we will now pass into space. I still want to keep work ball in the box. You know what? Actually, we're going to tick that. No, it's a core principle I have for how we want to play. As far as people being tired, Fischer is tired. Aslani is really tired. So we're going to bring on Braunöder for Fischer and Schmidt for Aslani. Polster now with a free kick. He goes direct. It hits the frame. That's the closest we've gone so far to really scoring in a relatively drab match. Free kick now again. Polster in, looks for Schmidt, and Laval with an easy grab there. Okay, so time for another substitution. Huskovic is tired. We're going to move Polster here into the shadow striker position and Fitz in for Huskovic. Of course, we've got a lot of tired people out there, which we can't ignore for too terribly long. Yes, I know, Gwenush, you are nervous. So what we'll do is we'll put Baltaxa here in the left wing back position. And Plavotic will come down here into that central defensive position. We still have one more sub we can make. I really wish we had a bigger sub bench in Austria. 83rd minute, Früchtel to Plavotic, out to Baltaxa. Polster, back to Baltaxa. Chips it forward, looks for Fitz, nothing there. Polster again, still Polster. And here comes Lask. Don't want to give up a goal now. Horvath gets behind, shot, and Früchtel kind of saves. Save-ish. Corner now for Linz. Michol brings that in near post. Dealt with okay. Shot. Oh, hits the frame. Früchtel with Lukanida was right there for the rebound. And Früchtel did incredibly well. Holland is getting... Holland, sorry. Ignore that. I'm going to make a sub here. Actually, what we're going to do, we're going to move Braunöder into the Holland position and bring on Jukic as that box-to-box runner. Michel with the corner. Handel deals with it well. Michel square to Darboe. Jovicic, Zierreis, and that's the end of that highlight. It was looking like this is going to end in a drab 0-0. Last 30 seconds. Martins, Braunöder, Martins. Back to Braunöder. Fitz, Martins, Braunöder, Lukas Galvao, Baltaxa, Polster. Oh, Laval with a huge save. Polster with a big opportunity there. Manu Polster with a chance to win it at the death here for Austria Wien. Wasn't able to do it. Fitz now with the corner. Brings it in. Handel trying to get there. And that's the end of the match. Manu Polster had the opportunity there right at the end. You can see that really bumped up our XG to 1.13. That was a huge opportunity. But unfortunately, we couldn't get it done. So unlucky there, guys. It can happen. And for the third and final match of today's first episode here with the Wunderteam, we have the second leg in our Europa Conference League qualifying match against Pogon. Got Früchtel in goal, back three are Plavotic, Lukas Galvao, and Handel. Resting some players strategically here. Guenouche and Ramftel are on the wings, because I put Baltaxa, who can play at left wing back, on the bench to come in for Guenouche. So just kind of keeping that in mind. Fischer and Holland. In the central midfield, attacking midfield, we've got Huskovic, Fitz, and Aslani today. Okay, let's go out there and enjoy ourselves. I expect a win. Today, we expect a win. All right. Another European night here for Austria Wien. This time we are in Poland to take on Pogon in what, if we judge it from the first leg, will not be an easy match for Darko Junusovic's Wunderteam out of Vienna. So what I am going to do here is shouts are over here, and we're going to encourage the entire team right at the get-go. It does tend to work well to just fire them up just that little bit. Leonardo. Gotta make sure that, for first I thought that was us. I'm like, I don't remember that guy. But we are playing in white. Going from left to right. Gamboa, Leonardo. Pushing forward on that left side. Crosses it, and that was Eftimis Koulouris with a really nice goal there for Pogon. And all is square now here in the Europa Conference League. Yeah, it would be great to get into the Europa Conference League proper, but honestly, with the fixture congestion and what we're dealing with here in the Season 1, it wouldn't be massive heartbreak to miss out on the group stages in the first season. Yeah, it's good to have the extra cash, but isn't that what everyone says? It's okay if we don't make it. It's not okay. Czech, Gamboa. Pogon pushing for Grozicki. Back to Ulvestad. To the name I cannot pronounce. Finds Gorgon. And that oddly goes out of play for a goal kick. That was weird looking. So, yet another boring half of football here. Had one key pass, one decent shot. Not great. If we look at this, they're pushing us super deep, which is a problem. They're pushing pretty high up. So I think what we're going to do actually tactically here. Not happy individual, Hakim Guenouche. Just be careful. What we're going to do now is we're going to go with slightly shorter, with slightly higher tempo. We're going to pass into space. We're not going to work ball into the box. Still going to play out of defense. And yeah, let's do this right now. See what it does or doesn't do for us in the second half. Ramftel, just kickoff highlight. We'll keep an eye on it. If Guenouche doesn't do well, we do have Baltaxa on the bench we could bring in. Aslani crosses it. Stipica picks that one up. Dominic Fitz is not playing well, so probably, and Guinouche has now picked up an injury. So we're going to do a double sub here in a little bit and take Guinouche off and Fitz off. Plavotic, Fischer, Lukas Galvao. Forward, Fischer. That was a bad pass from Fischer. Grosicki, Holland, nice interception. Huskovic. Over the top. Aslani is through. Aslani. And Stipica with the save for Pogon. As Aslani was through. Guinouche now with the corner. In, and that is defended well by Pogon. Throw now, Pogon. Balkvist. And Plavotic. All the way back to Früchtl. Früchtl is a very good goalkeeper for us. Lukas Galvao. You can see again that build-up now. If we pause it here, how we're sitting. We've got 2, 3, 5 build-up here with those wingbacks. Handel to Fischer to Huskovic. Those wingbacks are free out wide. Plavotic, if they can just find them. Guinouche loses out against Gorgon. I didn't look. That's who it could be. Valkvist going up against Guinouche. Gets past him. Finds the name I can't pronounce. Looks for Gorgon. Squares it. And offside. That's got to be offside, right? It won't count. Yes, there was an offside there. It looked offside to me. And so it was. So we're going to do a double sub here. Pause real quick. Guinouche comes off. Baltaxa will come in there, and we will take off Fitz. And for him, we will bring in Manuel Polster. Still not a lot happening. We've had a few more shots than them, but it's just not coming together so far. James Holland, we're going to take him off, bring in Braunöder. And Aslani isn't playing that well. So I could bring in Hosina, who's the problem with Hosina. He's good mentally, but he's not really good physically. What's his off the ball? It's 14, which isn't bad. Schmidt, he's got 15 off the ball. Okay, so we're going to bring on Schmidt for Aslani. And tactically here, let's run at the defense. Let's put them under a little bit more pressure. And tempo is already at slightly higher, so that's not going to change. That's not going to change. Yeah, let's be a little bit more aggressive with our press. See if that'll make the difference here, and get us a normal time winner would be great. Okay, so nothing's really happening. Galvao is tired. So we're going to bring Meisel in for Galvao, and the rest of the team just kind of has to go with it for the rest of the match. We got just over a minute left. Polster now with a corner for Austria Wien. Polster in, looks for Handel, nothing there. Fischer, Meisel, Fischer, out to Polster. He's got space, he shoots! And he was offsides. And now we are in extra time. Don't let this one slip away, guys. We're going to keep going how we are. All right, let's get this a little bit lower. Passing into space isn't working, so we're going to work ball into the box. We're going to take off the dribbling. We're going to go back to shorter passing. Let's actually narrow it a little bit. Let's just try to cluster up that central area a little bit more. Other than that, I think we're good for right now. Just still trying to crack it exactly on what we need to do. Probably when I play a few matches in comprehensive, off camera, I'll see some more patterns of playing than I do when I'm recording. Valkvist now for Pogoncech. Gamboa looks for Leonardo. Oh, Ramftel, nice interception by our right wing back. And Leonardo takes it off of him. Throw in now, Ramftl. Schmidt. Still Schmidt. Holding it. Braunöder. Handel. It's pretty narrow there centrally, but it's okay. Plavotic. I mean, we're playing narrow. Out to Baltaxa. Fischer. Just patient build up here. Plavotic. Meisel. Plavotic. All the way back to Früchtel. Handel. Out wide to Ranftl. Oh, that was a bad pass. Braunöder went into one direction and Ramftl passed it into the other one. And that Pogon shot was never destined to really trouble Früchtel. And Schmidt looks for Polster. Nice movement there. Ramftl. Ramftl pushing forward. Still Ramftl. Can he get a cross in? He squares it. Looks for Meisel. And an easy save. You know what we're going to do here, guys? We're going to go to tactics. And we are going to tell these guys to start roaming. Tell our shadow strikers to roam from position. Just get more fluidity, and that might be exactly what we need. As we hit extra time, halftime, and start the second half, Schmidt back to Fischer. Really don't want to go to penalties. I mean, the fixture congestion here in the early stages, I mean, you know what it's like if you're playing qualifiers for Europe, especially Conference League or Europa League. The fixture congestion in the early part of the season is pretty brutal as you're still trying to, gain match fitness and everything. Schmidt out to Huskovic, Polster, Plavotic, back to Handel, Braunöder turns nicely, Schmidt, Handel, stretch it here, Fischer, back to Plavotic, Fischer. He's not getting that turn. We've got numbers moving to the right position. Plavotic. Got a little bit of space now. Back to Meisel. Drops deeper. Braunöder. He can turn and pass forward. Schmidt now. Now we got the turn. Schmidt plays it forward to Ramftl. Ramftl in for Huskovic. Huskovic is wide open. In Muharrem Huskovic gets the offsides goal. Of course. Got a minute and a half left. Ramftl now to Braunöder. Fischer. Meisel. That's a bad pass. Grosicki is through, and Kamil Grosicki gets what's probably the winner for Pogon. And that'll knock Austria Wien out of the Europa Conference League already. Grosicki here, and he just takes that one nicely. And Früchtel, no chance in the Austria Wien goal. Braunöder, I did make one more sub. I didn't realize I had one more sub. Jukic came in for Fischer. Here's Jukic, Huskovic. Chips it forward. Schmidt releases himself. Takes a shot. Stipica with the save. That was a good opportunity there for Schmidt. No one is happy right now. No one is happy on the Austria Wien team. Baltaxa. Back to Polster. There was nobody there. It was the perfect position, but nobody was there. Braunöder, can we get another shot off before the end of the match? Jukic. Plavotic. Chip ball forward. Looks for Huskovic. That's going to go out of bounds. And out of touch. And that will do it here. And Pogon wins 2-1 on aggregate in extra time to knock Austria Wien out of the Europa Conference League. It's disappointing because we actually played quite well. Delighted with our performance, even if we didn't get the result. So the first bit of negative development is here, but we did receive 100,000, another 350, so 450,000 there. Guinush is out 1 to 2 days. So I don't know if this was all cumulative here, but okay, we'll just keep an eye on that. If we look at finances, we got a little bit of cash in the door, which is okay. Competitions, they wanted us to be competitive. Performance 45%, so that's slightly under what they wanted. Which, okay. I mean, not great. Be competitive. Oh, passed. Okay, well, so we passed being competitive to a degree. We needed a little bit more, but that's okay. What that does, however, is open up our schedule a little bit more, and we can do a better development moving forward. So there you have it, everybody. That is episode 1 here on the Wunderteam. It was a relatively long episode. I hope you enjoyed it regardless. And you will be part of the journey here with Darko Junuzovic and the Wunderteam from Austria Wien to try to rebuild and recapture the glory years of the past. So, as always, likes and subs are appreciated. Let me know your thoughts on this save-in series down below. Until next time, I am the FM Scribe, and I will talk to you soon.